In part 2 of our exploration into strange and mysterious paintings, we're diving into 5 more works that ignite endless fascination and debate. These haunting pieces hold secrets, symbols, and unsettling imagery that have captivated and mystified viewers for centuries. Among them is the Old Fisherman by Tivadar Chonvari Kostka, a portrait that seems to reveal the raw, weathered soul of its subject. Quentin Massey's painting, The Ugly Duchess, confronts us with strange features and a disturbing portrayal that redefines beauty. The Girl with a Pearl Earring by Johannes Vermeer holds an almost ghostly allure, with her mysterious gaze and countless unanswered questions about her identity. Then, there's The Inundation of the Biesbosch by Lawrence Alma Tadema, which immerses us in a harrowing, dramatic scene of flood and survival from 1856. And finally, Francisco Goya's Saturn Devouring His Son presents a nightmarish vision of myth and madness that continues to horrify. So grab a seat around the fire as we unravel the chilling mysteries behind these 5 haunting works of art that defy understanding. This is Fireside Unsolved, Episode 121, 5 Strange and Mysterious Paintings in History, Part 2. Old Fisherman is a 1902 painting by Hungarian artist Tivadar Csontvary Kostka, and is a striking work filled with meaning. Kostka, known for mixing impressionist style with mystical themes, created a dark, compelling portrait that reflects deep ideas about human nature. The painting shows a fisherman sitting alone by the water, staring intensely ahead, as though he's looking right through the viewer. His face is divided into 2 distinct sides. The right half is bright, calm, and gentle, symbolizing peace and innocence. The left half, however, is darker and rugged, suggesting a more hardened and troubled side of him. This split face represents the ongoing inner struggle between good and bad, light and dark, that everyone experiences. One of the most interesting features of this painting is that, if you look at each half of the fisherman's face separately with a mirror, each side looks like a completely different person. Kostka used this to show not only the fisherman's inner world, but to reflect the complexity of all people, and to show that all of us contain different, often opposing sides to ourselves. Kostka wanted Old Fisherman to be more than just a portrait of a man. He saw it as a way to make people think about the duality in everyone. The painting leaves viewers with a haunting question: can we find balance between the light and dark within ourselves? In the early 1500s, Flemish artist Quentin Massey painted The Ugly Duchess, a striking portrait that challenges ideas of beauty, vanity, and relationships. Completed in 1513, it's one of his most well-known works, depicting an elderly woman with exaggerated features. Massey used her unusual appearance as a way to question society's obsession with youth and attractiveness, as well as its treatment of aging women. Massey, a skilled Northern Renaissance painter, was known for his realistic, detailed style, which he used to create lifelike scenes and people. However, The Ugly Duchess stands out for its bold and unusual subject. The woman's distorted face immediately grabs attention with her large nose, bulging eyes, and sagging skin. Through these exaggerated features, Massey seems to comment on society's pressure for women to stay young and beautiful, highlighting the harsh contrast between youth and aging. Many art historians see this portrait as a satire on the Renaissance trend of older men marrying younger women for status rather than love. Working in Antwerp, Belgium at the time, an active center for art and new ideas, Massey was influenced by humanist thinking, which questioned traditional views on beauty and worth. The Ugly Duchess invites us to rethink our own ideas about beauty and value, suggesting that there's more to a person than what we see on the surface. This painting still resonates and asks the viewer to look beyond appearances and consider the deeper aspects of identity, relationships, and human connection. Johannes Vermeer's The Girl with a Pearl Earring, painted in 1665, is celebrated as a masterpiece of mystery. Rather than a traditional portrait, it's known as a trony, a Dutch term for a character study that focuses on facial expression rather than a specific person. The unnamed girl wears an exotic turban and an oversized pearl earring, her luminous face emerging from a dark background, giving the painting an intimate, almost cinematic quality. Her expression, with slightly parted lips and an intense, ambiguous gaze, feels both familiar and distant, as if she's about to speak but holds back. Her identity remains a mystery. Some believe she was a servant or even Vermeer's daughter, while others think she's an idealized character rather than a real person. The unusual clothing may reflect Vermeer's fascination with other cultures, which was rare in Dutch art at the time. The pearl earring itself adds another layer of intrigue. Pearls were symbols of wealth and purity, but the earring's large size and polished look make some art historians suspect it could be glass. This small mystery adds to the painting's theme of illusion, suggesting that appearances can be deceiving. Ultimately, the girl with a pearl earring is a timeless enigma, leaving us to wonder about her thoughts and story. Through his use of light and shadow, Vermeer invites viewers to speculate, but her secrets remain just out of reach. In 1421, a disaster struck the Netherlands that would shape the land and deeply impact Dutch history. On November 14th, a massive storm known as the Tide of St. Elizabeth caused one of the largest floods in 5 centuries, devastating the region. The storm struck on a day dedicated to St. Elizabeth of Thuringia, the daughter of Hungary's King Andras II. Heavy winds and rain overwhelmed the dams protecting Holland's coast. Within hours, 72 villages southwest of Dordrecht were submerged, and an estimated 100,000 people lost their lives. A legendary story emerged from the disaster. A baby in a cradle, carried by the floodwaters, survived, along with other survivors who clung to a small patch of land known as Kindergym, or Children's Dyke. As the waters receded, the landscape was transformed. The thriving farmland had turned into marshy islands overgrown with reeds, forming what is now known as the Biesbosch, or reed forest. The flood's tragic impact and the birth of the Biesbosch inspired Victorian artist Lawrence Alma Tadema, who in 1856 painted The Inundation of the Biesbosch to capture the flood's aftermath and the resilience of the Dutch people. His painting was his way of honoring both nature's power and humanity's strength to rebuild. Francisco Goya's Saturn Devouring His Son, painted between 1820 and 1823, is one of the most disturbing and mysterious paintings in Western art. Part of his black paintings series, Goya painted it directly onto the walls of his home, Quinta del Sordo, a quiet, isolated estate outside Madrid. This work, created during a dark period in Goya's life, shows Saturn from Roman mythology devouring his child in a grotesque scene meant to prevent his own overthrow. Goya's portrayal of Saturn is starkly different from other versions. Instead of depicting a god making a calculated choice, Goya's Saturn looks more like a man in a state of sheer madness. With bulging eyes and a terrifying wide-open mouth, he clutches a human-like figure with hands that dig into the flesh, creating an image of pure, primal violence and fear. Many believe this work reflects Goya's disillusionment with Spain's violent political climate, possibly symbolizing how leaders, or even the nation, devour their own people. Interestingly, Goya leaves out traditional symbols of Saturn like a scythe or hourglass, which makes the image even more ambiguous and open to interpretation. Some scholars think it may not even depict Saturn literally, but instead represent Goya's personal struggles or fears. After his death, this painting was carefully transferred from his wall to canvas, and now resides in Madrid's Museo del Prado, where it continues to fascinate and unsettle viewers with its raw intensity and enigmatic meaning. We want to hear your thoughts about these paintings, so drop your theories in the comments below. And if you haven't yet, be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode. Thank you for your continued support, and we'll see you next time. Fireside. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Fireside Unsolved. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe to help the channel grow. Until next time, take it easy and be easy, you filthy bastards.